Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar today. My name is Nung, and I will be your facilitator for today's session. But before we get started, just a few housekeeping items to note. Do feel free to adjust the size of the presentation box on your console by expanding the corner of the box. And if at any time throughout the presentation you are experiencing connection issues, please try refreshing the console by pressing the F5 button if you are a PC user, or Command R for Mac users. If the problem persists, please try closing the event window and then relaunching the event again. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please submit them in the Q&A box, and we will have a live Q&A session at the end. And finally, this webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be shared with you afterwards. Without further ado, I would like to hand the time over to Tanuj, the founder and CEO of 18th Digitech. Over to you, Tanuj. Thank you.
Thank you, Nung. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the episode 2 of our webinar series on mastering e-commerce in 2022 and beyond. In today's episode, we will discuss why it is important for brands to focus on customer experience to create best-in-class e-commerce shopping experiences. In the last week's webinar, we talked about how market leaders differentiate themselves from mainstream brands by offering great customer experiences. This episode builds on that idea, and our panelists today discuss the factors that help retailers create world-leading shopping experience to help them improve their conversions, average order value, leading to growth in revenue. My panelists today are Tom Franey and Kate Massey. Tom Franey is a young but experienced digital disruptor and is the emerging rock star of the e-commerce industry in Australia. He has recently joined the ASX-listed Motorcycle Holdings Limited, customer of 18 Digitech, as their group head of commerce. Prior to joining Motorcycle Holdings, Tom used to work on the agency side. He is currently leading a digital transformation and omni-channel strategy across the entire group, and I'm excited to hear more from him and learn from his experience. My second guest is Kate Massey, head of APAC for Searchspring. Kate has more than 12 years of experience in B2B technology and was the first person to join Searchspring in this region. Since joining Searchspring, she has seen great traction and helped a lot of retailers improve their website conversions, grow the average order value, and create best-in-class shopping experiences. Welcome both.
Great to be here.
So, Tom, my first question is for you, and for the benefit of our customers who don't know you or are not aware of Motorcycle Holdings, I would like to find out more about the business. What is your role there, and what are some of the interesting things you are doing or planning to roll out in the next few months?
Thanks, Tanuj, and thanks everyone for having me. As briefly mentioned, I joined Motorcycle Holdings about 4 months ago as a group head of e-commerce, and I was brought into the company to lead the digital transformation across the group and slingshot the business's online presence to become the largest commerce business in the industry. For those of you who don't know, Motorcycle Holdings is an ASX-listed automotive retailer that consists of motorcycle dealerships in which we sell the top 10 motorcycle brands in Australia, motorcycle parts and accessories retailers, service and repair centres, and motorcycle financing. We also span across business-to-business retail, business-to-consumer retail, and direct-to-consumer retail, all of which are a part of our digital transformation journey ongoing. For those wondering where we are around the transformation journey, we've recently selected our platform and vendor partners to partner with us across all of our businesses, and we are well underway with the transformation of our first B2B platform with Tanuj and the team at 18th Digitech. We also have begun our scoping phase for our flagship B2C brand, Motorcycle Accessories Superstore, also known as MCA.
That's perfect, Tom. And we are looking forward to be a part of the journey with you. Also, since you joined Motorcycle Holdings, I've been itching to ask you this question, and I think today is the perfect opportunity for me to do that. You have worked with an agency, and now you have moved to the merchant side. What differences did you experience in terms of how you perceived the end user expectations when you were at an agency, and now that you are working for a merchant? Like, in other words, like, what have you learned about customer expectations now that differs to how you perceived them when you were with the agents, when you were on the agency side?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think as a retailer, and especially if you've worked in the same retail business for a long time, it's very hard to see outside the box and to look outside your organization to see what else is happening and what other businesses and companies are doing. When I was working in agency land, obviously, you're exposed to a number of brands and your network expands rather rapidly compared to when you're on the retail side of things. So all of a sudden you get an inside look at how other businesses are doing it. And not only businesses in one single particular industry, but businesses across the market in all different facets. So whether it be fashion, automotive, consumer goods, no matter what, you sort of get a wider insight. So being able to bring that knowledge into the retail landscape is, to my belief, very valuable, because all too often the agents of change on a retailer side box themselves into what others in their industry are doing, benchmark themselves against their competition. And in the end of the day, customer experience is customer experience. It doesn't matter if you're an automotive retailer or you're selling groceries online. And we're all aiming to offer the best-in-class customer experience. So we need to look at what everyone in the entire commerce industry is doing, and not just people in our small industries, because customers don't just shop for motorbikes and they don't just shop for fashion. They experience customer experience in all facets of their life and all walks. And customers will compare us to the best experiences that they are seeing and they're receiving across the board, not just to other businesses in your area.
And I guess you're now in a perfect position because you can actually bring the learnings from all the other verticals and bring them into Motorcycle Holdings and have a very fresh attitude or approach towards how you're going to deliver some of these projects and the customer experiences that we are talking about.
100%. And before I was in agency land, I was working back at a fashion business, and taking the learnings from fashion and traditional retail and bringing that to the automotive space. It's going to be pretty disruptive because there are very different expectations. But I think in the long term, it'll be it'll be the right choice, because once again, everyone's looking for that same customer experience, and no matter what industry, we've got to strive to keep giving out the best every single day.
That's true. Thank you, Tom. My second guest today is Kate Massey from Searchspring. We as an agency have been working with Searchspring for almost 6 months now, and I'm personally very impressed with the capabilities it offers to our merchants. Searchspring provides powerful and fast e-commerce site search, merchandising, personalized recommendations, category navigation, and great insights into customer behavior through detailed reporting. Searchspring is fast becoming an integral part of our tech stack that we recommend to our merchants for the ROI it is able to generate for them. So welcome, Kate. And I believe that you have a short presentation on the importance of search, merchandising, and personalization. So over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And really great insights there, Tom, particularly around what retailers can learn across multiple different verticals. We often get asked during a sales process, what are other similar retailers doing? But I think there's definitely some great learnings that we can look at across different industries and how they can be applied. Some great initial poll insights. Great to see a number of people already ahead of the curve in terms of creating those best-in-class customer experiences, and a number that are making investments to do so. What we are looking to do today is I'm just going to quickly set the scene, and then we're going to open it up to have a fireside chat and really get into some of those things that we're seeing that are really driving those best-in-class customer experiences. For those not already familiar with Searchspring, we provide intelligent search, merchandising, and personalization that effortlessly converts browsers into buyers and buyers into lifelong fans. And as a technology partner, we really believe in matching like best-in-class technology with best-in-class customer success and customer support to make sure that customers are able to get the most out of their investments in technology. Now, we get to work with like so many really incredible brands day in, day out. And some of the common themes are that everyone's spinning their wheels, everyone is super busy, no one's able to get through everything on their to-do list as this market continues to evolve at rapid pace. But what retailers are really looking for is how can they have technology that's going to do more of the heavy lifting to free them up in their days to focus on strategy and to focus on creating those best-in-class shopping experiences and really look to reduce the friction points online. Now, if we go back a step and look at how did we used to consume TV, so there used to be 100 channels and you used to scroll through and find something that you wanted to watch. And if you weren't quite sure, you'd spend a lot of time scrolling through lots and lots of channels. Now, when we log in to watch TV, whether it's YouTube TV or Netflix or Stan, it's automatically grouped better and it's telling us what we want to watch. And every time we log in, it's getting smarter and smarter as it do so. So this is now how we're watching TV, it's how we're listening to music, and it's how we're shopping online as well. And this is what modern consumption habits look like. And all of these platforms are following what we call the 4 pillars of modern consumption. So how can we make things easier to find, organize better, fueled by that personalized shopping experience, and being upheld because of on the back end, it's fueled by insights and data. And consumption platforms are following the 4 pillars because that's what makes them bingeable and it's what's keeping people engaged. So we have another quick poll, which are currently, or which is the most important 4 pillars of modern consumption that you are looking to solve? Is it to make products easier to find online, organize better, personalized experiences, or fueled by insights? And as we were just waiting for some of those poll responses to come through, Tom, interested to hear what are you looking to solve first and foremost out of the bat, taking on a pretty big remit?
Thanks. Yeah, I think that the top 2 is sort of our first focus, I guess, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But I don't want to go too much into what I was going to say later. But what I do want to say is, customers are looking for, a couple of things when it comes to an e-commerce strategy, an online business, or a website, in fact. And that is, it's very simple. They want to find what they're looking for. And they don't want it to be too hard to find what they're looking for. So, a neat internal architecture and structure of your categories, but also, having the ability and the capabilities to be able to merchandise effectively so you can put the products in front of your customers that they're looking for. I think that's sort of the key. And if you break e-commerce back to the very basics, there's 3 things that are certain, right? People are looking for products, so they need to be able to find them. They need to be able to purchase the products, and they need to receive the products that they purchase. That's sort of the 3 very, very basic fundamentals of e-commerce. And I think that's sort of that's the first sort of step or challenge that we're taking head on is the architecture and how easy is it to find the products that our customers are looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think particularly for MC Holdings, you have such a large product catalog. So first and foremost, if you can't make those easy to find and organize well, how will you then kind of offer those personalized experiences? So that makes sense. If we look at the audience, there is a bit of a split. The leading one is moving towards those personalised shopping experiences, but starting with getting those products easier to find and then organised better and fueled by insights as well. So interesting mix of responses there. Now, if we're looking at how customers that are using Netflix, shopping on Amazon, listening to Spotify, they're also the same customers that are on your site and visiting your site today. But most sites are still stuck in delivering the TV experience or on that journey towards creating those Netflix-style shopping experiences. And they're doing that through a series of like plugins or Band-Aid solutions. And what's that ultimately resulting in is this look and leave syndrome. So over 97% of shoppers don't convert today. So if 97% of shoppers don't convert, how much will an increase of 1% do to the actual revenue number if we can start to not only just become an average converting site, but a best-in-class converting site as well? Now, we all know that COVID and the pandemic changed the game for e-commerce. There's a study put out by McKinsey that said that the e-commerce industry spread up 10 years in 3 months. But 1 in 4 consumers report a negative shopping experience. Now, I spend day in, day out looking at e-commerce sites, and I would actually hesitate, I guess, that that's actually probably a little bit higher. There are a lot of friction points that are able to be solved on an e-commerce site to create a much more seamless shopping journey. And it's not to say that by doing what retailers have been doing today is like they're going to go out of business, because we know that there's some very successful and very large retailers that have been built that the TV guide has been working to a point. However, as this market and our expectations and our consuming habits continue to evolve, this is where it's going to become even easier for a shopper to get frustrated and jump ship. We know that losing a first-time shopper means losing their lifetime value, and the acceleration in expectations is only going to continue to evolve. Now, with Searchspring, and the reason why I think we're getting a lot of really fast traction in market and we're working with a lot of really fantastic retailers is because we're helping those retailers to run the show by elevating the right product in the right place at the right time, across searching categories, across personalized experiences, recommendations, and fueling everything that we do by insights. And what that ultimately is meaning for retailers is there's no more doing everything yourself. So we're looking at technology to do more of the heavy lifting. We're looking at our agency partners to really be in step with retailers and helping them solve these challenges so that we can focus on creating those shopping experiences online that we're coming to expect, but are also setting the benchmark and leading the pack. So looking at how do we not only meet, but how do we get ahead of those trends and run the show? And that's really coming down to what we spoke about. So how can we get the whole site working for us? How can we make products easier to find, organized better, personalized by experience, and fueled by insights? So Tom, I want to open that up to you. I know we had the poll a little bit earlier, but really interested to hear about how you're going to go on this journey from the starting point. You're 4 months into the role, and I know your plans are very large for what you're looking to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, so, you know, obviously we're at a very young stage in our digital transformation, and normally I would actually probably flip your 4 pillars around there a little bit and say fueled by insights first, because you want to make the decisions for where you're putting your products and how do you want to merchandise your site and things like that. You want to make those decisions based off data and what you do. The problem with us is that we don't really have any of that data to start making those decisions. So what we've got to do is we've got to implement some strategies quite fast, so we can figure out a baseline for what we're trying to do, and then be able to pivot and be reactive to the data that then comes in, so we can then really lean on that, the data and insights to make educated decisions on how that we want to merchandise and how we want to lay out our website. Because, the most critical thing is that the customers land on your site from whether it's from an advert or an EDM or a text message or, going direct. They're landing there for a reason, whether that is to just find a product, which is mainly what we've been talking about today. But I think the other key thing that, we're also thinking about is how can customers find the content that they're looking for. So they might not be coming to the site for a transactional experience. They actually may be coming to the site for an educational experience because they've recently purchased a product, they've recently purchased a bike, for instance, and they want to know what accessories, what sort of oil or where should I go for my weekend ride on my new bike. So that all falls into line with the merchandising strategy. I think all too often people look at their search and merch strategy as product focused, whereas we are sort of opening that up and ours is product and content, because there is something to be said about a relationship with a customer that is something other than being transactional. That's what differs sort of almost your niche retailers, I guess, to your big box Walmarts and Kmarts and things like that, right? We're giving our customers a reason to come to us other than just being transactional.
Yeah, and that's and I'm seeing that a lot more. No, you're okay. I'm seeing that a lot more, especially in certain verticals like health and wellness and health and beauty. Content is becoming more and more prevalent, but there's definitely use cases popping up where traditionally where you wouldn't expect to see content, that content strategy is becoming more and more important at that fundamental starting point of addressing that customer experience.
Okay, so sorry, I just wanted to make a point here, as we have, Kate mentioned in her presentation, right? It's all about the lifetime value of the customer as well. And, when you are educating them, when you are providing them content, you are giving them an incentive to come back to you. So that becomes an integral part of the customer experience online as well. So, so this is all, I think it all comes together, pre-purchase and post-purchase.
Most definitely, and it does, and I'm going to speak on this a little bit later, but it does come down to, allowing your customers to make an educated decision when they're purchasing. Yes, all sales are good sales, but if they're buying the wrong product, it's going to end up in a customer service or a returns nightmare. So spend a little bit of extra time, invest a little bit more on making sure your customers are making informed purchasing decisions.
True. Okay. So, Kate, that was that presentation was very insightful. And I love the TV guide analogy that you have used. It actually, drives the point very, very clearly. So you mentioned, in your PowerPoint as well, that, the Searchspring has been getting a lot of traction in the market by addressing search, merchandising, and personalization. So can you give us a little bit more detail on what is driving this adaptation at this particular time?
Yeah, I think there's a huge investment going into e-commerce teams, but I think a lot of e-commerce teams are still running pretty lean. So they're still looking at how can technology do more of the heavy lifting? How can we get that layer of automation happening? And automation, I think there's a point Tom made around leading with data and insights, which I think is a really good point. But then you've got technology that has an element of AI that's going to keep getting smarter and smarter as time goes on. So similar, we log into Netflix for the first time versus 10th time versus the 50th time. It already knows what you want to watch before you do. And so I think looking at technology that can do more of the heavy lifting, look at technology that's going to get smarter over time, and really look at technology that is, as I spoke about, how can we remove those friction points? So how can we make sure when we're searching for a product, those products are coming up? Like if we go into a store and we go to the swimwear category in store, you're only going to see swimwear there, right? So making sure that when you're searching for something on site, those results are actually returning. And then how are you going to merchandise them? And how are you going to actually get the top converting products to the top, or preferred brands or high margin products to the top of the pages? And then how do you have smart recommendations? So recommendations that make sense. If I'm looking at a bed, chances are I'm redoing my bedroom. So let's get some relevant recommendations. Let's add some business logic. If I'm looking at a $300 item, don't show me a $100 on sale item. If we're in fashion and we've got a great range and I'm looking at a ladies' tee, don't show me then guys' jeans and an infant's jumper, because they don't really logically make sense. And I think that's why we're really starting to tie in the whole kind of completeness of solution across search, merchandising, and recommendations to have a very holistic and robust solution that can drive those conversion goals and grow the average order value as well.
Perfect. Look, and with more and more purchases happening online, obviously we know that in the last 1 year, we have had more people move online than in the last 10 years, I guess. But the challenge online is, right? When you go into a shop, doesn't matter what demographics you are, right? You have the same good or bad experience that everyone else has in terms of the advertising you see, the products you see, right? Now, how are brands looking to bring the in-store experiences online can avoid it, right? To make sure that that the experience that you see is personalized, and you've got a great customer experience as an individual.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see some really great examples of that. I find often when you go to a website, you get a lot of content on the homepage. You've got great promotional messaging, you've got great curated collections. Then often as you jump off the homepage, you lose a lot of that homepage messaging. And so we're seeing so much more and more inline banners being used as a way to kind of promote new collections, to tell the brand story and to build that connection with the audience. One of our clients is the Upside, and they have absolutely gorgeous creative, and they build that throughout the search results and category results as a way to kind of showcase what you'd typically get in store and what you'd see as on the window displays or the mannequins, and starting to bring that to life throughout the journey. We work with a lot of great socially conscious brands that are now looking to build more of that messaging, not just on the About Us page or our story page or the home page, but really starting to deliver that throughout the results pages. And I think another big piece of that is content. So how do you have guides? We have a client that has on their jeans category and the how to buy the perfect pair of jeans and sizing guides, and bringing that content to life throughout the site, I think is a really good way to continue to connect. We have a fast fashion retailer that starts to incorporate things like their rewards program and their gift cards, as well as their new collections as messaging. So as you're scrolling down the page, they're taking you on a journey with you. There's little things like adding badges to product, like staff pick. What would the shop assistant be recommending you as you were walking around the store? Or could you see that it was a last chance as a banner because there's low stock on it? And then I think that recommendations piece in terms of complete the look, complete the room, complete the adventure is really starting to tie that message together when you don't have the in-store experience. I'm sure, Tom, you probably have some great insights in bringing that in-store experience online as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Kate. I think it's all about the content, but to start with, I think you've got to take a step back as a brand or a retailer, and you've actually got to look at who your customer is and what's the voice of your customer, because there are certain customers that they don't like, they don't want to see supplementary content. They just want to be able to go on the site, find their product straight away, or land straight on their product page, purchase that and leave. And, you'd probably see these customers, people that were, they've always been online shoppers, or they're very, very avid online shoppers, and they know exactly what they want. They go to their product page. They're not really interested in upsells or cross sells. But they just want to make that transaction. It's a very, very transactional relationship. Although the second half of that, or the flip side, is when, we've had this massive shift to online, which is, forced a lot of brands' hands in, they've had to double down on digital, because if they don't, they're going to lose a lot of their customers, and their customers still need to be able to purchase things. So if they don't double down, they will, we're in an environment these days where if they can't find it at the brand they've always been shopping with, customers aren't afraid to go and look at another brand. They're not afraid to, buy their products somewhere else. I think, brand loyalty has been stretched and tested over the last 18 months. So that's, a key thing to keep in mind, I think, just on that topic. But moving back more to, the in-store experience online, I believe, not only with content to second that, but it's also how you structure and how you service your customer, your customer experience team or your customer service team, because they are the voice of your business when you don't have a sales associate on the floor selling to them, or a fashion host or a stylist, whatever it may be. They're the ones that your sites, your customers online are communicating with, if they choose to communicate with someone. So it really starts, once again, at the foundations, and probably going to say that word a lot today, but, it's really setting the brand up and making sure everyone involved, from a tech, a people, a content point of view, they're all bought in on that same journey, and it all starts, and they have the correct foundations to be able to grow the brand and grow the voice.
I guess, the other thing is, you mentioned that, the customers who are very, very product focused, they want to come online, they want to make a purchase and leave, right? So if for people who were in the last week's presentation in webinar, we discussed there are 6 different types of customers, each having a different motivation depending on their customer journey. So having a personalized experience is very important on the website to ensure that every customer is able to experience what they are experience based on their motivation. So
that's right.
Tom, you might. Yep. So you mentioned that what are some of the elements that you are creating to lead to a best-in-class shopping experience. So how important is the right tech stack in solving some of the challenges here? How important is that you're working with the right partners and you've got the right components in place?
Yeah, it's critical, Tanuj, and I just want to take a step back to how I sort of set out a strategy and the roadmap and the journey that we've sort of been on over the last 4 months, and what we'll continue to go on. So if you want to break down e-commerce and customer experience all the way down to its lowest levels, Kate has her 4 pillars. I've got my own 4 pillars, which I like to talk about and stand by. And that's generally what I base my evaluation and, create the various elements that go into an e-commerce or transformation strategy. And those pillars are customer, people, technology, and product. Everything that you do or everything that I do always relates back to how are we doing something to, affect or distribute one of these pillars. So to sum those pillars up in words, customers want to be able to find the products they're looking for, purchase them the way they wish, and have them delivered or picked up whenever or wherever they want to. That's basically summing up. So I want to focus on the first 3 because that's sort of structured around what we're talking about today. The 4th product is also dependent on you getting the first 3 correct. So in the modern day retail environment, which we're living in at the moment, customers around the world have been forced to make that huge shift to online shopping. People that shopped in-store before haven't shopped online before, have definitely experienced online shopping now. People that did a little bit of online shopping now have converted to avid online shoppers, and people that were avid online shoppers before the pandemic, like Kate, are shopping even more online. With this huge shift to online comes a desire from our customers to expect heightened customer experience, hyper-personalization, and a seamless journey from advert to shopping to the cart to the delivery of the product. So obviously along the journey, we've partnered with Searchspring to be able to solve some of our key challenges in relating to our customer journey. So this is relating to, customer and tech. The first one of those is, our product search and merchandising, which comes back to Kate's first pillar. And this is across both our B2B and B2C sites. Now, I'll just interject there a little bit. For those B2B retailers that are on the call, gone are the days where, B2B shoppers don't expect a great experience. They're not just looking for an ordering portal anymore. People that are shopping on a B2B website, they expect a very, very similar, if not better, experience than what your B2C customers expect. That line is merging, and it is, that those two dynamics of shoppers, they're starting to flirt with each other. So that's a critical point that I want to get across. But so with our merchandising across our B2C sites and B2B sites, coupling with a layer of personalization, partnering with one of our major focuses, as I said before, which is content, we'll be able to deliver our unique experience and personalized customer experience, which will ensure our customers can find the products and the information they're looking for with ease. We'll also have a merchandising solution that not only will help our customers find the products that they want to buy and show them the promotions that we're currently doing, but it's also commercially adaptable to assist us in selling the right products that we need to move as a business, which I know, that's not so much a customer focus point, but, we're all here, and that is a very important point from running an e-commerce business. The second part that we've partnered with Searchspring for is actually the product finder, which is a little bit more industry specific for us. And that's in order for us to be able to provide our hyper-personalized experience to our customers. So they'll be able to shop parts and accessories that relate exactly to their bike and their bike only if they wish, or they can shop our entire catalog. And we'll also be extending off the back of this functionality to be able to add your bikes into your customer account. So even if you're not shopping for your bike, there'll be a flag on the product listing pages to say, this product fits the bike in your account. So we're always just relating back to that, what the customer needs and what the customer is looking for. And that sort of can flow into our previous chat about in-store experiences online. If you're shopping with a sales associate in store and they say, Tanuj, what bike do you ride? They'll be walking around and saying, okay, so this is the oil that works for that bike. These are the handles or the pedals that work for that bike, and these are the grips that can go on those handlebars. So that's just a little bit of us automating that process, I guess. The last part that I sort of wanted to finish with for this question is, along with Searchspring, we've also partnered with the legends over at Yotpo in order to build customer trust and add a layer of authenticity across our customer-facing products. And by integrating all three of us together, we're able to present our customers with options to filter and search via our top-rated products and incorporate this into our internal merchandising and purchasing strategies in the wider business. This also falls both into the customer and the product pillars to ensure that our customers are making informed purchasing decisions. And we also want our customers to be able to buy the right product for them and not just the product that we want to sell the most of.
Yeah, that's great. And we know that top-rated products convert really well, right? So if we can elevate them or allow shoppers to be able to sort on them or filter straight to them, then we're giving them access to your top converting products quickly and reducing those friction points and finding them scattered throughout essentially sometimes thousands of results in a product catalog like yours, Tom.
Yeah, that's right. And I think it brings in an element of, FOMO. If that product's, if you've got two products there and one's rated really, really well, and it's not rated by us, it's rated by our customers, and has great reviews, there's that process of thought that goes on in the customer's mind that says, geez, all these other people love this product. They're having a great time, or, this writer's wearing this product. So it even brings in a little bit of the influencer side of things there. But, it does create that mentality that, everyone else loves this, so it must be a good product.
No, that's exciting. I'm really we're really impressed with what you have said today. Especially the things that you're doing at Motorcycle Holdings and bringing that personalized experience online. And I think in some cases you might probably be offering much better online experience than people can, experience in the offline brick and mortar world. So, Kate, Motorcycle Holding has signed up with Searchspring recently. Right? What are you personally most excited about working on this project?
Yeah, absolutely. I think outside of getting to work with Tom on a regular basis, which is always a lot of fun, I think that the vision for Motorcycle Holdings, there's B2B and there's B2C brands, and really looking at how can we get that low-hanging fruit, because with such a large product catalog and where they're at in their current journey, there's so much low-hanging fruit available, and that's before even getting into those really personalized experiences. And then looking at, over time, that intelligence layer coming in and elevating those top converting products higher up in the results. So I think as a starting point, fixing those initial challenges, and getting those uplifts and conversions, and then really getting focused on creating that best-in-class online shopping experience, because I think the vision is really exciting.
Perfect. Great. I think you guys are going to deliver a great project there. So my next question is for both of you. Personalization is becoming more and more a hot topic, right? So will we see AI replace humans or achieve better results, and how far are we from achieving that?
Do you want to take that one first, Kate?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Searchspring, we have very smart and sophisticated tech, and we've invested a lot in personalization, both organically and through acquisitions. So we're a strong believer in AI doing that heavy lifting, doing that automation, getting smarter over time, learning which products convert, which brands converts, being able to do things like exploding the best-selling color variant on the PLP page. So we're strong believer in AI, but I don't think it's ever going to replace humans, right? We had an interesting sales cycle recently where we were working with a leading and fast-growing fashion retailer, and they were looking at a solution that was, I guess the sales message on it was it's fully AI and it's fully automated, but I don't believe you can ever replace that human initiative and intervention into taking the data, taking the learnings, and looking to apply them as a business. So take, for example, when launching a new collection, you want that experience to be the same, whether you're in store, whether you're seeing it on social, whether you're on the website, whether you're in the email or the promotional campaigns behind it. And so you want to make sure you're creating that same experience on the website, not just elevating your top converting, for example, products to the top when you've got things like new collections coming into play. So I think there's very talented people within the retailers and brands, and I don't think that's going to ever be replaced by AI, but I think AI can make things easier and provide that layer of data to be able to continue to kind of step up and improve those conversions and the experiences online.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think when you break my technology pillar, when you break that down, there's really two reasons that retailers or businesses alike want to sort of move on a new technology or implement a new technology. The first one is obviously links back to the customer, right? They're trying to provide a different or a better experience to their customer. The second one is efficiencies. They want efficiencies across their business. They want efficiencies across their team. So I'm a big believer of, we all, everyone in the industry or everyone in everywhere is very time poor at the moment. And I think we can lean on AI to be able to make those, let's talk merchandising for a minute, to make those merchandising decisions for us. But as Kate said, there's always going to be things, and this is like a lot of things. AI is based on the data that it knows, and then it can build a predictive model moving forward on that. If you don't have any data, like you're launching a brand new product, or you're launching a brand new collection that no one's ever seen before, including AI, it's not going to know what it's supposed to be putting first. So it has to be a link between both human and technical connection there. But definitely as a leg up and to get started on the process, and AI is going to play a big part in creating efficiencies for retailers. And I think there's still a lot of retailers out there that haven't adopted or haven't fully bought online yet because of the fear that, AI can replace my whole merchandising team. No, AI will probably never, or it may one day, but no time soon it will replace your entire merchandising team, because the team and the people in the business, that they're what lives and breathes your product. That's they're the soul of the business. AI is just a tool that they can use to be able to make their lives more efficient.
100%.
That's great insights, Tom and Kate. So, look, we are running out of time, or we are almost out of time. What I want to ask you is, and as a takeaway for our audiences, what are the top 3 things you would say they can, implement quickly in their business to, get to see some quick results? Tom, would you like to?
Yep. Yeah, I can go first. Top 3 things that they can implement
to create those
quickly.
best online shopping experiences. What are those 3 things they can do?
Yeah, I think the first one is make sure you've got the adequate setup in it, and it is pretty simple. But I actually was speaking to a fellow brand the other day, and they didn't actually have Google Analytics set up. So I think step 1 is actually set up some reporting and something to track, however it may be, track your customer experience on your site. Because if you don't have that, we're all just stabbing in the dark to see what'll stick. So that's got to be the first step. You've got to know at what level you're starting at. Once you've got a baseline and you know what you're starting at, you can then identify the points that are sticky or painful for your customers. I think then you fall back into Kate's top 2 points, and that is look at the overall structure and the categorization of your site. So is it providing the best journey from homepage to category page to product page to cart that the customer expects? Relatively speaking, you can, change categories and whatnot fairly simply. And then I think that the third one is implement a good sort of merchandising strategy to be able to make sure you're promoting the products that you need to be creating. There's nothing worse than going onto a website and landing on a category page and seeing that it's just, default filtered by price high to low or price low to high or something like that. Because, in these day and ages, that's really sort of, lazy merchandising, I guess. And I think, even if you don't have an element of AI or, a fancy merchandising tool, which you can make rules about, most sites will have the capability for you to be able to put, manually drag and drop your best-selling products, or whether it's at least whether you want to make a decision on margin, inventory levels, sell-through, no matter what it may be. I think you can mix things up. And then also from if you're in a fashion point of view, it's merchandising your category pages so people can actually shop like they're shopping in a store, so they see shirts. If you walk into a fashion store, most of the time you'll see the shirts hanging on the top row and the pants hanging on the bottom row because you buy that outfit together. And these are the sorts of things that you need to start incorporating into online sooner rather than later.
Great. Yeah, and I would say, I'd say the first thing to do is not implement anything. I would say the first thing to do is to take a stock take of where you're at today. So jump on the website, do some searches, try and find some of your products, like is black dress exploding black dress, and go through to the checkout piece, and then go onto some sites that you know and respect and do the same thing and figure out, like, what are you trying to solve? And I think that's the first piece. Then talk to some tech partners. And I always believe in choosing the tech partner that has a very solid, like, onboarding, customer success, and ongoing customer support model, so you can get the most out of the solution. Like, we're working with like thousands of retailers day in, day out. And as Tom said at the start of this call, it's not just about the expertise in the same industry, but across industries, and what are those best practices that you can start to do to kind of lead the way and take things forward. And then when you're ready to implement tech, and I think this is another one of Tom's really great points, is really focus on the people side of implementing tech. So get some runway, get some bandwidth to clear the way, to really dive in with the technology partner and with the agency partner to really get those foundations set up right from the beginning. If tech fails, I used to be on ERP implementation, so if tech fails, it's usually not the tech, it's the not investing enough in the implementation or the ongoing kind of onboarding and training. So I think that's an important piece to really dive in. And I would say that the starting point is probably those first two pillars around making products easy to find online and organize better, and then getting into the personalized experience. It's where everyone wants to get to, that personalized experience, but you've got to get the fundamentals in place first and foremost.
Perfect. So sorry, Tom.
I just want to jump in. Just want to jump in there really quickly, and just second that point of Kate with the people. I think all too often we see retailers they come into meetings or whatnot, and this is sort of putting my other hat on, and that's I want this technology. XYZ has this type of website. I want that. Why do you want that? Because they've got it. Yeah. Well, no, it doesn't always work like that, unfortunately. And if you haven't trained the team around you that will be using that technology day to day, there's no point in having it. Everyone can have the shiny stuff if they're willing to pay for it, but you've got to actually be able to use it, I think is a key point. And I can really relate this to either merchandising software and marketing software, because those two together, you can implement them and they can just sit there and idle alongside everyone's day-to-day businesses. But if the processes internally don't change for the teams to actually integrate them into their day-to-day workflow, there's not much point in actually having them. If you're not going to implement a merchandising strategy, why have merchandising software? So it does start at the training element, I think, and it's very, very important to implement those early on, and not just be like, we've got the software now, so we should expect results straight away.
Perfect. Look, I think I can talk to both of you for hours, and we'll still not run out of ideas. But we have overshot our time, and we need to finish this presentation, this webinar now, so that people can go back to implementing some of the ideas that we have discussed today. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you, Tom and Kate, for taking the time out from your busy schedules and sharing your brilliant insights with us. I'm pretty confident that our audiences today appreciate the knowledge that you have shared, and can implement some of the ideas back into their business. And thank you everyone for joining. The recording for today's webinar will be available online shortly. And please tune back on 7th of October for our third episode, where I'm joined by Dean Salakas from the Party People and Jennifer Diaz from Starshipit. Dean was named top 50 people in e-commerce by the Australian Retail Association, and he will share his experience with us and how he took his business to the top of his industry by always being first to market. So I look forward to seeing everyone next week. Enjoy the rest of the week, and bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.